Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our today's webinar. The topic of today's webinar is class analysis and practical experience on the CIRS joint registration for PEC Substance. This webinar is organized by CIRS, and my name is Brian Zhou. I'm the Senior Regulatory Consultant from CIRS. Before we start today's topic, please give me a minute to introduce our company briefly. CIRS is short for Chemical Exemption and Regulation Service Company Limited. Our main offices are both in China and Ireland, and now we have about 200 employees. Our main service is product registration and regulatory compliance service, especially for Europe countries and most Asia countries. Besides industrial chemical compliance, we also offer the service including cosmetic service, pesticide and biocide registration, food content and food compliance service, medical devices registration, and tax service. Okay, so now let's back to today's topic. In today's webinar, we have 4 parts. Firstly, I will briefly introduce the basic information of CIRS. Then we will go to the key point of today's webinar. I will introduce the CIRS joint submission. I will introduce the procedure and the different roles in this submission, and I will give a case to help you make a better understanding. Then I will introduce some news of CIRS. This is because CIRS still needs constantly improvement. So we will share the most updated information and the latest development of CIRS. In the last part, I will briefly introduce our achievement under CIRS. Okay, so firstly, let's see the CIRS introduction. CIRS is also called ARECS. The full name is Act on Registration, Evaluation, etc. of Chemicals. CIRS has been implemented since January 1st, 2015. CIRS is another very important chemical management act in the world after EU REACH. Its main authority is Ministry of Environment, which is also called MOE. Besides, it has several cooperative associations, including KCMA, NIER, KEITI, and KECO. In order to help you get a better understanding of the obligations of different organizations, here I use a table to show you the organizations and their main obligations under CIRS. To KCMA, they take responsibility to the individual submission, and to NIER, they are responsible for simplified notification and standard notification, which means when your company decides to take registration, you need to submit your registration dossier to NIER. To KEITI and KECO, generally they are responsible for the confirmation of registration exemption under CIRS. This is a new responsibility since January 28, 2017. To KEITI, if your company wants to notify the hazardous chemicals, which is contained in consumer products, you need to submit your apply of exemption to KEITI. And to other exemptions of registration on CIRS, you need to apply to KECO. I will introduce more details of the exemption conditions under CIRS later in this webinar. Okay, generally there are two main obligations under CIRS. One is for chemical substance, another is for product. Regarding chemical substance, the definition of under CIRS is a substance obtained by artificial reactions on elements or compounds, and those obtained by modifying or extracting or refining substance existed in nature. Actually, this definition is similar compared to the definition under EU REACH. And here you can, from this slide, you can see that CIRS also gives obligations of like registration, authorization, restricting, and prohibition of substance. And different with EU REACH, CIRS also requires companies should submit annual report to authority regarding their last year activities of the substance. Specifically, regarding chemical substance, generally there are two kinds under CIRS. One is existing substance, another is new substance. Regarding existing substance, now the CIRS requires that if the existing substance is PEC substance, which is also known as the substance listed on the first batch of 510 existing substance subject to registration under CIRS, and when the tonnage is more than 1 ton per year, the joint registration is required. But to new substance, whatever your tonnage is, more than 1 ton per year or less than 1 ton per year, the registration is required under CIRS, and you can choose to take individual registration. Okay, another part is about the product. Here I also put the definition of product under CIRS on the slides. Generally, it's different compared to the definition under EU REACH, and simply we think that the definition of product under CIRS contains the definition of preparation and article in EU REACH, and it also regulates the two main obligations. One is notification of hazardous substance contained in products. Another is about risk-concerned products. Okay, then we'd like to say something about the CIRS exemption. There are two parts of exemption here. One is when you found your substance is exempted to register under CIRS, you don't need to apply confirmation to the authority. There are three different conditions which the exemption is not need to confirm. But there are also 6 different conditions that the exemptions should require confirmation from the authority, which we just mentioned from January 28th. The KEITI and the KECO will take this part of responsibility. So when the company decides to take registration under CIRS, firstly you need to check whether your substance or the activity of substance is under the exemption of CIRS. If so, you could save a lot of cost and time. Okay, then we'd like to show a general timeline of CIRS. We can say that CIRS takes effect on May 1st, 2014, and it was come into enforcement on January 1st, 2015. We just mentioned that regarding existing substance, now CIRS requires that only the PEC substance, which is also known as the first batch of designated existing substance, are required to take registration from 2015 July 1st, and the deadline of this batch of registration is June 30th, 2018. CIRS want to register all the existing substances into three batches. The first batch is from 2015 to 2018. The second batch is from 2018 to 2021. And then the third batch is from 2021 to 2024. It also gives us a timeline for CSR submission. Now CSR have a 5-year grace period which is from 2015 to 2020. Different towns has different time deadline here, so you need to check whether when you need to submit a CSR, you need to check this timeline to make sure your CSR is submitted on time. Okay, then we'd like to make a simple compare between EORIGE and CIRS. Firstly, regarding pre-registration. Now, CIRS don't have pre-registration system, but we all know that the EORIGE has the pre-registration system, and the effect date will and the deadline of the effect date will be the May 31st, 2018. And then regarding the normal registration under CIRS, which actually we just mentioned that all the new substance is required to take normal registration, but you can take this registration individually. But if the PEC substance and the tonnage is more than 1 ton per year, generally you need to take the joint registration. And here is a special case, which is if your substance has very high hazards to human health and the environment, even your tonnage is less than 1 ton per year, the MOE may still require you to take registration of this substance. And to EORIGE, we all know that no matter if new substance or existing substance, when the tonnage is more than 1 ton per year, the normal registration is required. Then I'd like to talk about the registration type, the joint submission. Now the CIRS requires that if the substance is PEC substance, then the joint submission is required. But actually there is some special options. Generally, if the company finds the cost of registration, the company finds that compared to take registration individually, the joint registration has a much higher cost, and or they found that they can't protect their business secrets when they choose to take joint registration. Under this condition, they can apply the approval to KCMA, and after about 14 days review, if the KCMA approve your apply, you can choose to take individual submission of your PEC substance. And actually, we know that under EORIGE, although ECA encourage companies by encourage the companies that one substance should have one doser, and they encourage data sharing. But we know that it's very similar that users also have options like opt-out to take the registration. So it's kind of similar here. Okay, another is about the polymer registration. Under CIRS, this registration target is the polymer, while under URIS, the registration target is the monomer. To OR, if the company is not domestic, both regulations all require that the non-domestic companies should appoint OR to help them to comply with regulation compliance requirements. Regarding CSR, we just mentioned, CIRS now has a 5 years grace period. And the last one is about annual report. CIRS requires company to submit annual report before every June 30th, while URIS don't have any annual report system. On this slide, I list some general information which is required to submit to adult when company take registration. The information includes registrant information, substance information, application of registered substance, hazardous information, physical and chemical properties, classification and labeling, risk information, safety use information, and some other information required by MOE. On the last the last slide of the first part is about the penalty. Here I list some main obligations and their penalty. So enterprises should be familiar with these penalties, and they need to make sure that they take the compliance work under CIRS before when they manufacture or import their products into Korea. Okay, then we'll go to the second part, the CIRS joint submission and the case analysis. The target of joint submission is the PEC Substance, which is known as priority existing chemicals subject to registration. Generally, we also call it the first batch list of designated existing substance under CIRS, which total is 510 substance. The company can go to the official platform, which is on the left side, to check your substance situation under Korea regulations. Or you can go to our CIRS website to download the full list of 510 substance, PEC substance. Okay, according to the CIRS, regarding PEC substance, it requires that if to manufacturers or importers of the PEC substance, if manufacturer imports tonnage is more than 1 ton per year, obligations are required to comply within 3 years, or will be regarded as illegal behavior and punished under CIRS. Firstly, I'd like to say something about the 3 years. We just, when we talk about the CIRS timeline, I mentioned that to the first batch list, the registration time is from 2015 to 2018, which is just 3 years. And this is how the 3 years comes from. And during the 3-year grace period, you can still manufacture or import your PEC substance into Korea. So again, I'd like to repeat that to the PEC substance, the registration deadline is June 30, 2018. From the news we have, I want to introduce some updated information of the PEC substance. Until December 30, 2016, to 510 PEC substance, now 279 substance, the LR is elected, which means about half of the PEC substance, the LR is not elected. And from this, we can see that about half of the PEC substance, they are not under the procedure of joint submission. So consider the deadlines from today to the deadlines about 1.5 years. So if your company has the PEC substance which not has the LR, you may need to move, take a faster move and plan to comply with the carriage. Okay, another information is the Korea authority, they choose 7 substances as the pilot projects. One is hydrogen bromide. What we know is that the registration dossier of hydrogen bromide has been submitted to the authority, to the NIR for review. And actually, there are about 300 substances of this PEC substance. They are already registered under EU, which should be a good news to companies because the data and the test report may be available when you take carriage registration. Last but not least, here there is a big difference compared between EU and carriage. Under EU, we know that if the substance is registered and the substance has a hydrate, the hydrate is exempted to register. However, under carriage regards PEC substance and its hydrate are 2 different substances, which means both PEC substance and its hydrate are required to take a carriage registration. Okay, then I'd like to introduce the procedure of carriage joint submission. Generally, it has several steps, including like organizing CICO, sign CICO agreement, collecting data, prepare a dossier, and submit dossier to NIR for review. After NIR review the dossier and they will issue a registration number to LR. Then LR can sell the LOA to other members. Then the other members could submit the LR and LOA and other individual information to NIR for registration. CICO is simply, we can regard it as a career safe for your better understanding. And before I give details information of every step of the joint submission, first I'd like to say something about the rules under the carriage joint submission. Generally, there are 4 roles in this position. The leader registrant, which is also known as LR, the active member, passive member, and letter registrant. Firstly, regarding LR, okay, we know that it's obvious that LR is the member who leads the CICO work, and they will also management manages the CICO and responsible to take the registration. And there will be many works for LR when take joint submission, including like confirm substance sameness, determine substance classification, data generation. It will, at the early stage of registration, whatever money or time, the investment of LR is very high. But LR also have the biggest advantage after the registration is completed. For example, they will have ownership of the test data. They will have the initiative during the registration, and they will be the first to complete the registration. And consider they will be the first to complete registration. They can know the latest development of industry, and also after completing the registration, they can have the right of LOA reimbursement. Okay, the second role is active member. Active member generally he will assist LR to take CICO work and complete registration. Similar to LR, at the early stage of registration, they will have a big investment. But it also will enjoy many advantages same as LR, like they will also have the ownership of test data. They will have an initiative during the registration, and they will have the right of LOA reimbursement. Okay, regarding the cost of registration at the early stage, it will be shared by LR and all active members. Then is passive member. Passive member is part of CICO, but he didn't need to do any work at the early stage of the registration. He will only take registration after LR and the active member complete the registration, and they will buy the LOA from LR and make a submission. So the advantage is at the early stage, the passive member don't need to too much work, but the disadvantage mainly is about the cost. The cost of submission will be higher than LR and the active member, and they don't have the right of LOA reimbursement. The last role is about the later registrant. The later registrant actually is not the member of CICO, which means he will not know the updated news of registration. He will only take the registration after LR and active member complete the registration. Same as passive member, he also buy the LOA to take registration. So the advantage is after the LR and active member completed the registration, the LOA is clarified. So the later registrant can know the exact number of costs. Then he can decide to take registration based on its situation. But the disadvantage is also about the cost. He will have higher cost of registration compared to LR or active member or passive member, and he will not have the right of LOA reimbursement. Okay, so back to this procedure of CIRS joint submission. Now I want to introduce some detailed information step by step. Okay, so first, when we decide to take the carriage jumps registration, the first thing is we should identify our substance. First, whether this substance is listed in PEC is regarded as PEC substance. The second, whether the count is more than 1 ton per year, and the third, whether your registration is under the exemption of carriage. Okay, after we clarify these three conditions, and we found we have to take joint registration of the PEC substance, we need to organize the CICO. So we need to identify all the potential registrants and elect the LR, and determine other roles of members in this CICO. Specifically regarding LR election, generally they will have three. Different situations. The first is there are just one contingent, one member who want to take the responsibility of LR. Then he only need to get the agreement from other members. The second condition is if there are two or more members, two or more members, they want to be LR, then the LR will be appointed by a vote of all the members. However, if the third condition is if no member wishes to be a LR, it will be determined by considering factors such as manufacturer or import volume or position of the test data. Okay, so after we determine all the CICO roles and we organize the CICO, we need to sign a CICO agreement among the members before we take the registration. Generally, this CICO agreement will include much information. For example, like the details of on appointment and the replacement of LR, key data selection, data generation, data ownership, cost share, time schedule of data submission, and the whole registration. And also like confidential agreement, all the things should be considered and added in the CICO agreement before we take the registration. So after we sign the CICO agreement, the LR and the active member should start to prepare the registration. They need to consider about the data. If the required data, generally the data includes like required data includes like classification and the labeling of substance, physical chemical properties, hazard data, and the test plan, and risk information, safe use guidelines, which we just mentioned in the slides. Okay, regarding this data, if the data is existing, the member just need to submit to adult. If the data is not available, then LR should decide how to get this data. They can decide to purchase this data or generate them by test or by carry out test. So generally, it's LR's responsibility to determine the weight of data generation. Okay, here one important point is regarding all the regarding all the data codes, it should be shared by all the members. And actually, how the rules of cost share should also be included in the CICO agreement. Okay, so after we get all the required data, we should prepare the registration dossier and submit to LR. And the LR should review the registration dossier and submit to NIER for review. After 30 days review, if NIER approves the registration dossier, they will issue a registration number back to LR. Then LR can sell the LOA to other members. Then the passive members and the later registrants will submit the LR and or submit the LOA and also some individual information like their own importers information. Last but not least, after dossier submitted by LR, hazardous review will also be reviewed by NIER in 1 year. If NIER believes that some additional information should be added, they will inform LR to complete their registration dossier. From the news we have regarding the 279 PEC substance which the LR is elected, about 1/3 are in the stage of CICO agreement. Okay, so after we introduce the procedure and the role analysis, I'd like to give a case analysis of the cost share, which I think should be the key point many companies are concerned about. Before I start the case analysis, what I want to say is, in this case, to make the case clear and better understanding, we assume that all the members, their registration tonnage is equal. They have the same registration tonnage. This is because generally, when we have a higher registration tonnage, the LOA should be higher. So, in this case, all the members, their registration tonnage is same. Okay, so here is the background information. In this CICO, there are totally 10 members, one LR, 4 active member, and 5 passive member. Besides, there are 2 later registrants. And the cost of this PEC substance joint registration is $100,000 USD, including data fee, administration fee, CICO management fee, and the consulting fee, including data analysis, CSR, dossier preparation, and some other fee. Okay, so how to share this cost? We just mentioned at the early stage, it's LR and the active members' responsibilities to complete the registration. So, in the early stage, the total cost should be shared by the LR and the active member. So generally, every LR and active member should pay the cost of $20,000 USD. Then after the registration is submitted and approved by NIER, the LR can sell the LOA to passive member and later registrant, which also means they can have the LOA reimbursement. Okay, so specifically to passive member, in this case, totally there is 5. And how to calculate the LO fee? Here you may notice there is a coefficient which is 1.2. In this case, we make the coefficient 1.2 because we want to make easy calculation. And actually, this coefficient generally will be determined by tons or some other factors, which should be mentioned in your CICO agreement. Okay, so consider in this case there are 10 members. 10 members, 1 LR for active member and 5 passive member. The LOA fee should be divided into 10, which every member is 12,000 USD. And we know that there are 5 passive members. So the total cost of 5 passive members, the total LOA cost of passive members should shared by the LR and the active member. So the equation is 12,000 multiplied 5 minus 4 at 1. It's still 12,000 USD. So every LR and active member will get 12,000 USD. So actually, yeah. So the actual cost will be 20,000 minus 12,000 USD, which is 8,000 USD. Then to later resistance, because they are not member of CICO, and when we added the later resistance, all the number of all resistance is become 12. So the LOA is 1,000 USD. And in this case, there are 2 later resistance. So the cost of the LOA cost of 2 later resistance should be shared by the LR and the active member, which is the money is 4,000 USD. So we can see that to the LR and the active member, their final actual cost will be 20,000 USD, which is the cost of at the early stage minus 12,000 USD, which is from the passive member, and the minus 4,000 USD from the later resistance. So the final actual cost is 4,000 USD, which is actually very low than compared to passive member and the later resistance. So can say that to LR and active member, although the investment in the early stage is very high, but after completing the registration and they get the LOA reimbursement, the actual cost is low. And they can also have the advantage, like they can lead the registration and they can take the lead to complete the registration and capture the market share. And another important point is they have decision rights to add new members into CICO. This means after the CICO is organized, if there is a company they want to be a member of CICO, they need to get the agreement from LR and the active member. Last but not least, as we just mentioned, LR and the active member have the ownership of data and the reports. Okay, then we will talk about some latest development of CIRS. On December 28th, the MOE says that they may make a big amendment in the future of CIRS. So the suggestion from CIRS is companies should still follow the existing regulations to make the compliance work until the new regulation comes out. But in order to make a better plan in the future, we need list the 6 main points which we get the news from MOE, the important amendment information, and I will say introduce some details one by one. The first is about expense scope of existing substance subject to registration. In the new, from the information we get that MOE may require all the existing substance which manufacture or import tonnage is more than 1 ton per year are required to take a registrant. It also gives time for the different tonnage. If this registration time is implemented, which will also means that system of 3 batches of registration of existing chemicals under carriage will be cancelled. Then it's about the pre-registration system. The target is about the substance which manufacture or import tonnage is 1 to 10 ton per year. The system of pre-registration is to reduce the data requirement and lighten the burden on enterprises. Actually, the government will collect data and provide to enterprises for registration. And also, if this substance is registered under EU REACH, according to the data information and test report, the requirement will be lower. Then it's about annual report. Annual report system may be abolished on the carriage. This is because it is found that the annual report work on the carriage is repeat as the statistic survey on the CCA. Then it's about strict management of use of adulteration substance. It clarifies the usage of chemical substance which need adulteration, and also requires that chemical substance without adulteration are prohibited to import or used for other purposes. Another one is about strict chemical information transfer in supply chain. It will have a high requirement of information transfer, and it also gives the definition of hazardous substance. One is about CMR substance, another is about chemical substance which persistence by accumulation and toxicity. And also, whatever the downstream users by how many of the products from the manufacturer or importers or the registration status of these products, the manufacturers or importers are required to offer hazard information to the downstream users. Last is about additional penalty costs. One is about labs should provide, if labs provide unreal test results, it will be fine. Another is if substances which are not compliant with registration and cause harm to human health and environment during use. Before I start the new chapter, I want to repeat that because we know that the deadline of registration of PEC substance is 2018. So generally, we believe that the new regulation should be come out after 2018, which before this date, if you want to manufacture or import chemicals into Korea, you still need to follow the existing regulations. Okay, so last part is about the management of household chemical products. On November 29, 2016, CIRS added the information on measures for the safety management of household chemical products. Generally, there are two parts. One is for reorganization of household chemical products management system. Another is about the legislation of biocide management. To reorganization of household chemical product management system is to clarify the obligations of different authorities and prevent the management blind spots. It also gives the management of biocides, including biocides, biocidal products, and the products treated with biocides. Here we list an example of OIT. The chemical substance OIT is a biocide, while the preservatives made with OIT is a biocidal product, and the antibacterial filters coated with OIT preservatives is products treated with biocides. In the biocide management, it also mentions some general requirements of biocides. Many focus on newly released products, existing products, biocidal products, products treated with biocides. Okay, it also requires some information of high-risk substance and the information communication of household chemical product information. Okay, so in the last part, I'd like to introduce our achievement on CIRS. We have a specific team for CIRS compliance, and we offer global regulation climate service since 2007. We will make a service plan and the registration plan based on different clients. And also, we have very good cooperation with domestic and overseas GLP labs. We have good relationship with authorities from different countries, and actually we have several very excellent Korean partners to help us comply with CIRS. Now we help our clients take 3 LR projects with high tons. Help our clients become active members. 6 totally become active members. The total number is 6, and we help 50 clients to attend the CICO project. Besides, we take 4 new substance registration, 20 low volume registration, and 5 exemption registration. Last but not least, we are also the first company to help the client to submit the first individual dossier on the joint submission. So from this achievement, we can say that we are very experienced on complying with CIRS. Okay, here is above is today's webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. And our next webinar is about EU REACH. We will introduce the LR project. If you have any, if you are interested, please go to our website for registration. Okay, so thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, you can send me an email. Okay, so thank you. Bye.